Have you heard about Bill C-31, also known as Protecting Canada's Immigration System Act? Bill C-31 is another one of the federal government's omnibus bills being bulldozed through Parliament right now. Oh, and by the way, this bill, despite its very long and misleading name, is not actually about immigrants, but about refugees. This bill places refugee lives at risk. Here are 3 examples of how this bill will deeply impact the lives of thousands of individuals and families. Bill C-31 would give one minister the sole power to decide which countries are considered safe and which ones aren't. This would result in a discriminatory system in which applicants from these so-called safe countries will not have access to the same process. If the minister deems that a country is safe, individual circumstances of persecution in their country of origin will not be given serious consideration. These refugee claimants also would have shortened timelines to defend their case and no access to an appeal. When 2 or more refugees from the same country arrive together in Canada, Bill C-31 authorizes the minister to place these refugees into detention for a minimum of 1 year without the right to have their detention reviewed by the Immigration and Refugee Board. For some refugees, this would mean mandatory detention in centers that are similar to medium security prisons. This mandatory detention would also apply to children 16 and over. Those under 16 would be forced to choose between being detained with their parents or being put into state care. In addition to costing up to $70,000 a year per individual, there is evidence that shows that detention as short as 2 days has long-term mental health consequences. Bill C-31 will even affect people who have already been accepted as refugees. That means people who have gone before a hearing of the Immigration and Refugee Board and have been recognized as refugees and then granted permanent residency could have this revoked. Residents that may have lived here for many years, people who have already created a life here for themselves and their families, could lose their residency and be deported. So if this bill sounds pretty outrageous, unbelievable, unconstitutional, that's because it is. Many provisions of Bill C-31 violate Canada's national and international obligations, including the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Canada's international obligations with respect to international refugee law, and the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Organizations that have expressed their disbelief and opposition to this bill include the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, Amnesty International, Solidarity Across Borders, No One is Illegal, the Canadian Council for Refugees, and the Canadian Association of Refugee Lawyers. So what can you do? If you're concerned about this bill, it's important to act now. This bill is being pushed very quickly through Parliament. Here's what you can do. Contact your MP, tell them what you think. Sign the petition. Organize an event. Flash mob anyone? Get informed and spread the word. Use social media. Email us at info@agiremontreal.org. Here are links to more information about the bill and concrete actions that you can take to let MPs know that this bill is not only unconstitutional, but unfair and unjust.